This video is sponsored by our good friends at Hover. Guys, with Hover, it is simple to set up a great website. If you need to build your online presence, to showcase your portfolio or other works, or extend your personal brand online, Hover has you covered. It's also a great place to find a domain. With over 400 domain name extensions to choose from, including all the classics and fun niche extensions, you'll find the perfect domain for your needs. And get this, Hover's Connect feature allows you to connect your domain name with many website builders with a few simple clicks. At Hover, there are no annoying upsells, just a clean user interface with best-in-class customer support. Need a personalized email that matches your domain? Look no further. Free Whois privacy got that covered as well. Hover has offered all my subscribers 10% off their first purchase. Click the link in the description and save today. Oh boy, so what do you do from here, right? It's so unfair. You take two athletes, of course I'm talking about Gaethje, I'm talking about Khabib. They put in a life's work for a goal in our entertainment, and the second it's done, we sweep them away to discuss what do we do now. But guys, that's the way sports work, right? We don't always come to it with heart. We want to, but as fans, we got to know what's next, right? What follows the fight? An interview where John Anik is always going to ask you what next. What follows that when they fade to black and roll the credits? A press conference where they go and talk to Dana and they ask him what's next. Looks, it's just the way that sports work. But when you talk about what's next now, it's a little bit problematic, okay? I know what the popular opinion is going to be. I know what I would also bet it to be, which is popular opinion that we go ahead and throw a belt out there for Poirier versus Conor. I feel there's something for us to discuss, though, before we quite get to that point. There is a major problem when a champion leaves. There is multiple reasons Dana White does not love it when a champion leaves. He respects it. Loving it, different conversation. He respects Khabib's decision. That doesn't mean he has to love, but let me tell you why. It's not because, oh my gosh, our division doesn't have a champion. It's not that. That's a real simple fix. You go find two guys, you throw the belt up, we get it. That's how these divisions were formed in the first place. The one thing that I'm teaching you, one thing I think that you might be missing, it has long-term effects when a champion leaves and the next crew comes and picks it up. By example, Daniel Cormier. This was extremely unfair to Cormier. I do not appreciate that this happened to Cormier, but I acknowledge that it was real. When John Jones got stuck in the principal's office and Daniel Cormier and Rumble Johnson go out there, they put their hearts on the line and they put a belt around the winner's waist, of which was Daniel. The perception by the fans is that that was a placeholder while John Jones was in timeout. That's a hard thing to overcome. It isn't fair to the athlete. If you have a competition, NCAA, World, Olympic Games, professional athletics, you take all comers. It's anybody that raises their hand, and anybody that stayed home is not eligible. That's the way we respect it in every sport across the board, except for this one. In this one, it's always about second guessing. It's always about challenging. Now, I bring that to you because as much as I do believe, and I'm being a little worried, as much as I do believe that Conor and Poirier is likely to be for the titles, guys, not so fast. Allow me to remind you. Conor McGregor lost to Nate Diaz. They came out and they said, we're going to rematch it when Conor said, I want a rematch. And they said, but hey, Conor, by the way, you went up to 170. We're going to help you out. We're going to bring this to 155, a little closer to your natural weight. Big favor for you. Conor said, no, you are not. I don't need any help and I don't want any favors. We redo the same rounds. We redo the same main event. We do it in the same city under the same rules, and we do it in the same weight class. Now, I only bring that to you because Conor McGregor might put his foot down. I don't know if he has the power. I don't know if he has the ability to say, I'm not going to fight for a title when a title's put. I'm bringing you conversation. I don't know how badly Conor wants to get a belt put around his waist or how badly Poirier wants a belt put around his waist under these circumstances. The other side of the coin is, look, if we're going to go out and do the fight anyway, and now you're telling me you want to put a prize on it, why would I turn it down? Guys, I know I want it. I couldn't imagine that you would. I'm just bringing to you that before we count our eggs, give it a breather. There was also a promo done tonight on Michael Chandler. There was only one promo done on one athlete who was not on the card tonight. His name was Michael Chandler. There is an investment being made there. There is something special with Michael Chandler. There is a rumor that he's going to be fighting Tony Ferguson. I'm not asking you to pick which is more deserving between a Poirier-Conor fight or a Ferguson-Chandler fight. I'm not asking you that. But I am making conversation for you that if you have both of those fights and in a odd universe, but Conor lives in an odd universe. In all fairness, he does. He does things a little different. If Conor were to object, just by example, you may default back to a different fight. Now, look, one thing that I think we can all agree, I know I just confused you there, but before you go, chill, what the hell are you to make this larger point. If we have identified the two fights, if we have identified that this new title that is up for grabs is either going to go to Conor and Poirier or it's going to go to Ferguson and Chandler, I'm only suggesting for you that the way the UFC generally operates is they'll put both those fights on the same damn card. That's generally what they do when they have a mega fight. They bring in another mega fight within the same weight class and something in case something happens to the main event. That's what Chandler was doing on Fight Island in the first place, was in case something happens to the main event so we can preserve it. We've got this other athlete. So here's the good news. If we are in agreement that it's one of those two fights, if we are in agreement that January 23rd works out for all parties, if we're in agreement that the winner of the main event, which apparently is going to leave with a belt now, takes on the winner of the co-main event, we've now got a bracket. We've now got a semifinal, if you will. By the way, nothing that I just said is set in stone because nobody ever saw Khabib retiring. Nobody ever saw this coming. Look, Rule 101 per Vince McMahon, okay? Give the audience what they want. Don't ever give them what they're expecting. Khabib retired after telling everybody he was going to 30-0. It was a beautiful move. It was this beautiful moment, and he took the gloves off and he left them down, but he said, UFC, I want to ask you one thing. On Tuesday when the rankings come out, IB, pound for pound, #1. Okay, great. No problem. That's not how rankings are done, but he makes a very good point. He is the pound for pound #1. But make no mistake, before he exited stage left, he said the next best thing is Conor and Poirier, and I choked them both out. That's a self-serving statement of which he was right to make. But it still proves the point that this is a cutthroat business. George St. Pierre goes and does an interview with Ariel Helwani, and George says, I would never even try to talk Khabib out of retirement. The way he tried to talk me out of it, I would never do it. I respect what he did, and he's the greatest of all time. That is a bunch of crap. Khabib did not leave with his hat in his hand and tipping his hat to the boys. He left putting himself over, which is the right thing to do. But if I'm George St. Pierre, I'm coming on Ariel's show on ESPN and I'm telling the world the reason he left at 29-0 instead of 30-0 is because I ran his ass out of here. That's how this business works. And unless you want to be viewed as a placeholder, which unfairly happened to Daniel Cormier, unless you want to be viewed as that, you come out and you set the script straight right now. The only reason this guy walked away is because I was next. The only reason this guy walked away is because he didn't want to rematch me. The only reason this guy... That's the way this game is played. You may like it or you may not like it, and whether you realized it happened or not, Khabib just did it.
Uncle Chael, there's no bad guy like Uncle Chael. Never lost, not even around. Undefeated, undisputed, oh yeah. Here comes the bad guy.